Hello friends, welcome to Intuites.
Let's begin the class.
Let me quickly share my screen. So the last class I think I have discussed about joins and filter transformation, right? So another set of transformation will be there that is more of a similar kind of, I can say, it's more of a, sorry, like a, from a SQL standpoint. Okay, so that I will assign some tasks. We need to use couple of functionality, just like a SQL. Okay, so the functionality we need to use called group by. Second, aggregation, sum, max, mean, all this stuff. Third is called the Windows function. These are the three things we need to use on that functionality. Okay, Windows functional lead, lag, everything is same. Just like whatever you discuss in the SQL, same it will be there. I will assign some tasks. You can try it out and come up with the solution for this. Okay, make sense?
Yes, Samir.
So this is your job to do it. So let's go ahead. I can start few things. Just hold on. So this is part of all the Spark data frames. So we discuss about the normal data frame, how to access data frame, a different transformation we used. Then we discuss about different access, how we can access the Spark. Then writing, reading, filter, joins, group by, aggregation, Windows function, all the stuffs will be done on the Spark. Now, another part of the Spark is that we will do it is, it's called the access data frame using SQL way. Okay. So there is another part to the Spark. One is Spark can be written on the Python, PySpark. Another part is the same Spark code can be written on a SQL. Okay, so that part we will discuss today. So basically, when you are accessing, whenever you have a data frame and you want to read through the SQL way, right? Just hold on, huh? Just give me a sec. So when you are planning to access this data in a SQL, well, there are two concepts will come up. Okay. So first is your local temp view. Second is called the global temp. Okay. So what does it mean? It's like whatever the data frame you are creating, we will convert it into a create a temporary view out of that, and through that we can access the data in a SQL way. Like we will write the SQL statement there and we will create it. Right? Is it making sense?
No, Samir. I need some more explanation. I can't understand.
Yeah. That's I'm doing it right away.
Okay, Samir.
Not yet
Thank you.
started. Yeah. So if you see here, we have done a data frame now. So the circuit dot final df when you are reading the data. So whatever the data frame we are creating, right? So we have started with the data frame, then we are doing some transformation, everything, right? So what I'm trying to do, suppose the same thing, the data frame, you want to convert it into a SQL, or I want to access whenever you are have a data frame. Suppose you want to display the data. What are you using? Either we are using the data frame dot show, or inside the display you are putting a data frame, right? My intention is that once the data frame is created, I want to do write like a select. Let's select star from the data frame. Select star from the data frame where this then all the. So just like a how you are writing in a traditional SQL, right? The same I want to do it. If you want to perform that, then the data frame needs to be converted into a view. Then only we can start using it. Did that make sense? Now, how to
Yes,
do it,
Samir.
I'll show you. Okay.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Yeah.
So here, what
That
I'm
means
trying
we
to
can't
do.
read. Sorry, Samir. Yeah, just one second. We can't read it directly the data frame. It has to be converted into view, right? Can't we read
No,
directly the
we
data
are
frame
reading
using
it.
SQL?
No, we are using it directly. We are reading it through the normal PySpark way. But since if you want to do it in the data frame, that needs to be converted into view. Another part to do is that yes, we can directly connect to the database and we can directly access to that. I will come up the next. But now here the point is the data frame is there. I just want to change my coding style to SQL. This is not the way like we are Your question is, we have a database we can access? Yes, we can access it directly. But here the point is, the data frame is there, but my coding standard I need to change it to SQL. So for that I need to change the data frame to a view. Make sense? Both
Okay.
parts. Okay. So now let's do it here. So what I will do, my circuit final DF is there. So okay. So here let's try to create a take this the data frame dot. Okay. Then we have a function. Okay. So that is called create replace temp view, create replace global temp view, create global temp view. So and create temp view also. So these are the four commands will be available. Create temp view, create. Let's try with the first with the create temp view. Okay. So there are two views are there. One is your local, one is your global. Let's with the go with the local only. And inside this, we need to give a name. Okay, in a double quotes. Okay. So I will say v underscore races underscore. No, let's do like this. Races, no circuit,
Yeah, this is
circuit.
circuits. Okay.
Yeah, circuits underscore VW. Okay. I'm just creating a view out of this. Now let's run this. What is done? Okay. Now I need to access this circuits dot view using two ways, because you know that the context of your cell can be changed to Python and the SQL, correct? Now our view is generated. Now I want to access to SQL and Python, both the ways. So for the SQL way, I can write the SQL magic command here, percentage SQL. So the current context will change you to a SQL. Okay. Now I can say select R from my circuits.view. Okay. This is the way. Let's try to run this. See here. Now we can do the same thing. Whatever you are doing the down one, the display and all, we can do through the SQL. So this view what created now. We can select start from the circuits.view, and you can put your where statement, anything you can do now, how you are doing there. Making sense? Is that making sense to you?
Yes, Samir.
Exactly the way you are writing the SQL. Any functionality you can use here. Okay. All the filters, group by, everything we can do there. Got it? First part is clear?
Yes, Samir.
Okay. Now the same thing, suppose you want to write through in a Python context. In the sense, what does it mean? I have changed this current cell context to SQL, so that I am writing like this. Correct? Let's take your context is still on the Python, but in Python itself I want to write the code in a SQL way. Making sense? What I'm trying to say here? So for that we need to use the function called spark.sql. Then I can write whatever I have written here. I can just copy, and inside this I can paste in a double quotes. Okay, so that this also, but here the output of this data, let's start with this one. Okay, now, but in this case, if I run this context, this will, what happened here? Huh. is okay.
There is no
The
display
output,
command.
no, I understand. This is the output is a data frame. So we need to assign to a data frame, then I can show it. But I can write the way I need it inside this, and I can use anything there. Okay, it's making sense. So the context of the writing is this. So I can use a temp view, then I can use the SQL context to write directly the code in a SQL format, or I can use spark.sql and inside that I can put my select statement. And that will be the output will be data frame. I will store inside a data frame for this output and I can use the way I was using it before. Okay. Now, one thing, this is the code we have written to create the temporary view is not the picture perfect because suppose you have given this code to a like production code and it is getting executed daily. But this cell, if I try to execute now, it will throw an error because this view is already exist, right? So always better to use not this command rather than there is an option called create or replace temp view. Okay, this we need to use always. So what will happen is if it is there, it will create it. If it is not there, it will create it. If it is there, it will just replace it. So create or replace. Making sense? Now there will be no error for this. Okay. So always use create or replace. Making sense? And this is the local view. What does it mean by local view? Local view means whatever the notebook you are working currently. hmm, For that context or for that session, this view will be accessible. Means we are working on ingestion of circuit files. On this notebook only, the circle.view will be accessible. If you go to another notebook and try to access the same file, it will not work. Okay? Directly no, because that is a local context. This is a local file. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. You can just test it out. That's part. There is very simple. Just create a notebook, another notebook. Just try to access that file. Oh, sorry. Try to access this view. You will get an error there because this is a local. Making sense?
Global means throughout the any of the workspace we can make use of it. Local means it is local to this notebook only, right? My understanding, is
Yeah.
it correct?
Global in the sense, yes, global is across all the notebook, but for that particular cluster, not for the other cluster. What does it mean? We are running a cluster, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So let's take you have another cluster as well. Think up like. So it's
Okay.
not like the global view will work on the different cluster. No. On the same cluster for all notebooks. That's the global. Okay. Make sense?
Yes, Samir. Yeah, and across even the workspace also could be different, right? In that case also, then global one could be accessible.
Yeah.
Suppose I'm
Yes.
working
Yes.
on one workspace
Yes.
and Vidya is working on other workspace. In that case,
Yeah. That will work. That will work in a global across everything, but on the same cluster, not outside of the cluster. That's it. In the cluster, you have different workspace. Doesn't matter. It will work. Okay. But
okay.
to create the global view, we need to change here. Okay. Instead of create or replace temp view, we need to write another command here. Create create or replace global template. We need to use a global keyword so that the same view will be treated as a global. Okay, let's do that. Fine. Only the changes needs to be done here. Instead of writing the local view, into global. So you can ask me the question that which one I will go for. Depends. What your context. It's not like every time we will create the global view. It's not like every time we are sharing across, right? So it depends what's your requirement, whether any code or any view which needs to be shared across all the notebooks on the same cluster. Is there any requirement comes up? Then we will use the global. Else, everything will be local in the same notebook itself. Okay? It's not like we have a feature, we'll use it every time. It is not like that. Okay? So local have a certain context, global have certain context. Depends upon my requirement, I will start using it. Okay? Now, only the difference will come up is, let me remove the where condition here. But when you start using, now I have created the global here. Let's again execute this. Now, but last time when I am creating the local view, I can able to access like select star from the view name. But once you created the global view, it will throw an error here. No, it is working. Seriously. Just give me a second. I think something I changed on the database or what. Or let me do one thing. Underscore G. Let me put this away. Context is not working. Let me try to create another view with a G as a global. Okay. Let's try to access this. Maybe it was coming from the cache, I think. Okay. Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. So when I giving the same now, it was coming from the cache I was able to access. But actually, when you create a global view and you will try to access this view, just the way the normal one, it will throw an error. It will say that table or view not found. Okay. Why this error is coming? Make sense? Up to it is clear?
Yes.
Okay. So why the error is, I will show you. Okay. Let me put it in another notebook here. So the percentage equal. Okay. Now let's say we want to see whatever the current context you are working, how many tables are available on this one. So I can have a command called show tables. So shift enter. We have a circuit underscore view only, which you created earlier. This is a local one. But you have created a circuit underscore view BWG also, right? But it is not showing me. That table is not at all showing me. That's why when I'm trying to access the circuit or view.g, is saying the table or view not found. Make sense? First of all, make sense this is up to here.
Yes.
Now we have created, no doubt we have created this data for sure, but somehow I'm not able to see it. So here the point is, here the database, if you see this normal one, the local one which you created, the database is showing blank. Blank means it's a default database. So whenever you want to create you are creating a view directly without any giving a database name or nothing you are giving, then Databricks will create that view on the default database, okay, which you are working on. But when you create a global view, okay, that view will be created on a different database. The database name is called the global underscore temp. Okay, that database name is called global underscore temp. Inside that only this view got created. So how to show that? So I will give another example here. Show tables in global underscore temp. So please show me the tables from the global underscore temp database. Now if I execute this, then I will see, I am getting circuit.view. It's fine. Okay. and another also I'm getting circuits underscore VW underscore G. So there are two viewers created. That's fine with the same name. That's fine. But I'm referring to the circuits dot view underscore G. Temporary? Yes. This is the one. Making sense? So whenever you are accessing a certain global view, we need to prefix with global underscore temp dot. Then only we will able to access circuits.vwg. This is the only changes you need to do while working on a global. Okay. Now if I are trying to access this, you'll get the data. Making sense this part?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And here also we need to change it. That you know that I'm not doing it. So here how to see your database. Okay. Let's go the just hold on. Let me check the day by day. Those options are getting changed actually. Yes, catalog. Yeah, if you go to the catalog, if you see here, it is to, I will explain what is hide meta store. But when you access this catalog, right, it is storing by default. It is storing inside the default. So if you click on the default, something there is no database item, but this is the default database. Okay, but we can create your own database as well. So there are some couple of databases are there, but we will create our own database as well. Okay, but the normally when you are storing in a view, always it will store inside the default. Making sense? So this is the way it is. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's okay. Let's go to the file and I will need to explain it. Yeah. And now the difference between the local and the global is this global view, you can try that out, can be accessed through other notebooks but on the same cluster. Whichever folder they are, doesn't matter, whichever workspace they are, but that should be under the same cluster. Just remember this. If it's a different cluster, that will not work. Okay? Is it making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's discuss few. Now this is the way. Now let's start our journey through the Spark SQL. So let's understand how the Spark SQL works, what exactly it is all about, and all these things. Okay. So basically, how the question is very simple to you that when you are working on a database SQL or the notebook file, normal notebook file, how you are accessing the data inside the Databricks, where you are storing the data, and how you are accessing to the Databricks in a general context. Can somebody explain?
We are accessing the files from the storage location using authentication methods with the mounts, and we can read that one into Azure Databricks using these mounts.
Now,
dbutilities.fs.mounts. It is used to display the what are the mount points that are available in that particular storage container.
correct. So that's the way it is. Okay. So that's what we're just doing it. But when I'm talking about the SQL, okay, that's the one way. So what will the one important concept will come up. This is called Hive Metastore, which I just now I showed you. here in the catalog. If you go here, there is a context called Hive Metastore. The Hive Metastore is like a coming from such a Hive, because all these are like a big data concept, right? So this is also coming from Apache Hive. So this will be the first level of interaction where the database can be created, your tables can be created, and we can store the data. But everything will be stored inside the Hive metastore, okay, which is the metadata. Now here, two things can be possible. Okay, Hive metastore can be integrated to two ways. First way is called the Databricks default, which you will see it first because it's a very simple one. Second is we can integrate to a external metafiles. External metafiles is in the form of, let's say, Azure SQL or MySQL or etc. Any database. Okay. So what will happen is your database will be there already. That we can integrate to the database, and the entrance point will be always the Hive metastore, or directly we can use the Databricks default. We can use create a database how you are doing in the normal SQL server, right? For our practice, we'll create database, we will do it, and I will show you as well how we can integrate. Suppose you have a database, how we can integrate to the Hive metastore. If that makes sense, how you are doing, we'll see. But logically, you understand how pictorially how the things will work on the database side at least.
No, Samir, can you just repeat?
Which one? Which part?
Yeah, this from this Hive Metastore.
Yeah, yeah. So suppose you want to the Spark SQL means one is the PySpark, right? We will need to write the way the Python. Spark SQL is something like the SQL. For the SQL, what do
Okay.
we need? We need the database, we need the table, we need the view, everything we need, right? Normal. How, suppose I'm talking about a traditional database also. So I need those things, right? Database, schema, tables. Then only I can write my code on top of that, right? SQL way. So if I want to do the same in my Spark, then I need to use the Spark SQL. And to use the Spark SQL, the entrance point for the Spark SQL is called the Hive metastore, which is nothing but to store the data, the metadata in the form of a database table and store it. And Hive metastore can be integrated in two ways. First is a database default. Database default in the sense we need to create our own database, we need to create our own tables, everything we need to create on your own. Okay, that I will show you how to do that because this is the generic purpose, right? We need to for a practice. Another one is the Hive metastore can be integrated to a third party. In the sense, suppose you have already a database like Azure SQL. Azure SQL is nothing but the SQL server on the cloud. Okay, so Azure SQL or MySQL or Postgres or any database such as suppose your industry is working, that there we have all the structures, database table, everything that I want to integrate to the database. Then I can use this Hive metastore as well. Is it making sense now?
Yeah. Yeah, it will work on both on-premise SQL and even this one also, cloud, right?
On-prem SQL
Uh,
in the sense.
On-premise SQL Server. What we are using is SQL Server SSMS, right? That one.
Mhm. How we
Can
will
you connect?
integrate? No, no. But just think once. That is a local and your database on the cloud. How you will integrate both systems?
Okay. Yeah, because here MySQL was also mentioned, and MySQL usually it will be with the
Every
on-premises, right?
no, no, everything have a cloud, right? Every
Okay.
person have a cloud. Yes, that is a possible scenario. I'm not saying it's not denying that on-prem it's not possible, but there will be a security breach actually. So, because some data is on the on-prem and you want to move it. So just move the data to the cloud actually. Then only you can start working. That's a better approach. Making
Okay.
sense? Now I am just giving a hierarchy of a Spark SQL, how the things will be working. Okay. So basically when we are talking about a Databricks notebook, I have my Databricks workspace or workspaces, whatever maybe. And from there on the Databricks workspace, I can have any number of databases I can create. I can create any number of database. Inside the database, I can have tables, then I can have my views. Okay. And inside the tables in Databricks, actually there are, this is a very interview question. Okay. There are two types of tables are there. One is called your my managed table. Second is called external tables. We'll go with the details and worry. There are two types of table can be possible in database. This is called one is the managed table and one is the external table. Okay. So as of now, if I say the difference between managed and external is for the managed table, as a user, database user, you need to maintain both the data and the metadata as well. Okay. But in case of the external, we just need to only maintain the metadata. The output file or the data will be referred to certain location. Okay. Just don't go deep down. But this is the way. Like in case of the managed, we need to manage both data and the metadata. Whereas in case of the external, we need to use only we are concerned about my metadata. That's it. But let's see what exactly it is there. Making sense?
Yes.
Okay. And views is views only. Just now we saw that. So let's start with a new file actually, and let's insert the this one only. Let's create a notebook, and I will give the name as Introduction to SQL. And because I need to work completely on the SQL only, I'm changing the context to SQL, whole context of the notebook. Okay. So now my everything context will be every each and every note the cell will be in a SQL way only rather than the Python because I want to write on a SQL. No need to write the magic commands and all completely. So first, very basic. Let's create a database. Okay, very basic. So let's take create database demo. Very simple. Enter. Sorry, spelling mistake. Create database demo. Fine, database got created. Now where it got created? Let's put the catalog. And if you see here in the Hive meta store, directly it is got created one database called demo. Default was already there, but I have created a demo. Did that make sense?
Yes,
Yes.
Samir.
Very good. Yeah. So the basic concept is the Hive meta store, which will hold all the things. Okay. Now this one is we are going with the database default way because we are creating our own database tables. And then finally, I will show you how to integrate certain other database as well, which is there. Okay, let's go to the SQL. Now this is mine. Now when this is again, when you are creating the database like this is not the correct syntax to create the database in Spark SQL, because when suppose accidentally one more time, if I want to execute this, this will throw an error because it is already exist. Okay, because the database is already exist. So in case of the view, I told you that create or replace to use. When you are creating the database, create database into used if not
Not
exists.
exist.
Okay, then this will work. If it is there, it will. If it is not there, it will create it. If it is there, it will not throw an error to you. It just simply silent. So if we say create database, if not exists, there will no. We will say okay. Right? Okay, got it. Now the next command is to show the all the database. So this the command is called show databases. So there are two database I have. One is my default, one is my demo. Okay, got it.
Yes, sir.
And you want to describe the current database. Okay, you can use two commands. Either you can use desk or describe completely. Either you can write the describe, then say database, then demo. If you use it, it will show you what exactly the all the things, the catalog, where exactly it's, and it is storing here. Okay, by the way, this is the file. We are giving the mount point like that, right? This is the location where this database is getting stored. dbfs slash user slash hive slash warehouse slash demo DB. Okay, and even you can use instead of the describe, you can use the desk also for a sake. Same. Okay, but you can use another function here. So describe database, you can say extend. If I use extend here, sorry, what happened? My mistake, I think spelling mistake, I think. Extended, sorry. Not extended, extended. Okay. Then you can, there is no data and information such as here. But if you get some other properties of the database, then you can use the extended to get it. Like the properties here, some properties are blank. We'll see this, but there is an option called extended. Okay, this is one SQL. Next, now
Both will serve the same purpose, Samir. Both describe a database demo and extended demo.
no, describe extended demo. No, describe. Then we need to use the extended here. Extended demo using the describe. Using describe only. Describe database, then extended. Extended in the sense, give me some other properties in details about the database. That's what we are saying there. But here we have very less information, so it looks like a same whatever I am describing and with extended as well. But normally when you have a big data, now the database where you are integrating, that time if you use the extended, you will get some more information about the tables using the extended option. Now suppose you want to see what is your current database. What is your current database? Which is the current database? So I can use a function called select underscore current underscore database. Okay, so this will show you the which database you are currently working. You are working on default. By default, this default. So if you create a table right now, the create table, table name, whatever may be, then it will go to the default. But you have created a database called demo. So always say the qualifier names where you want to create a database. Is it making sense? Now, if I say now after this my current database is default is this one. If I say show tables, so what will happen is it will show you the tables which are available. There is no table right now, but the tables which are available under the default because my current context is the default. Okay, and after that, suppose on under this database, suppose you want to create a table. Suppose I want to create a table like the same way how we are doing the SQL. Create table sample array. Stop it. Create table symbol. Suppose ID integer bracket. Things now bracket inside that state 60. Now, when you are creating this table, so already create or replace. So when you are creating this table, if you are not specifying anything, then this sample table will be go to the default database because the current database is default. Make sense? I'll show you that as well. Now go to your demo. You will not have any tables here, but when you click on the default, there is a table called sample. If you see here, okay, because your current context is always is the default, and if you want to create a table, then this is the two columns I have created under this. Make sense?
Yes.
So to make it use, there are two ways. First, we can specify the table database name here. I say demo dot sample qualified name in every time. So I need to give the database dot table name, database dot table name. But this is not ideal scenario. Like I can forget sometimes. Okay. So to use this same thing, before to the context, I can use a function called use demo. So that what happen is my current context database will change to instead of default, it will change to demo. Okay. Now if I say select current database, then it will give you the Spark catalog. Oh, sorry, current catalog I have given. Sorry. Current database, and this now it's a demo. Okay. Now if I create your table, then it will go to the demo database. Okay. Let's run this. Then now if I go to my catalog here, and if I click on my demo, then I will have a database table called sample. Make sense? Please be careful on this too, because this is normally we have a context in normal traditional SQL editor, right? We have an option on top of that we can select our database, right? Then we can write our. But here we should be very careful while creating the tables or any such performance, because the current database context needs to be changed to the way the database which you want. Okay. Now here, now your job is very easy. We can use create database. So here I'm giving some tasks to you. Just creates a basic table with employees. Okay. And try to access everything. Whatever you learned on the SQL, select statement, where statement, group by, order by. then having clause, insertion statement, insert, just create a table, insert some data into that and start working on this. Okay, can we do that?
Yes, Samir.
So just give a practice here. So I will give two tasks to you today. Okay, the first task is the normal group by aggregation on the Spark SQL. This I will give on the PySpark. How you are given the join transformation, filter transformation used the same way using the PySpark. You need to use the group by aggregation and Windows function. This is one part to that. Once you've done that, your PySpark is done. Now we need to. I showed you this too that you can work on that. Now I will ask you to create a sample, right? Create a database, create a table, insert some records, then access all the functionality of the traditional SQL. Okay, select, where, like operator, your AND operator, OR operator, group by, having, order by, Windows function, everything. Just try start using this on this notebook. Make sense? And let's see whether you are able to achieve everything from the traditional, or you want to have any syntax change when it move to the Spark SQL. That I just want to know you from your end. Okay? Is it making sense? That's
Okay,
your
Samir.
job. That's your job. Because I want you to use all the group by, all the order by in the Spark SQL and see whether that is the same thing what you are using the traditional, or slightly any here and there changes is there when I'm using the Spark SQL. Okay, is it making sense? Okay, so your job is to do things. So I will give one assignment, and this assignment already I given. So you just need to complete it. And I think next class we will start with these two, the manage table and my external table, what the difference and all, how we can create all these things. Then I will use the external meta files, how to use that. Then finally we will start the Azure Data Factory. Okay, so to schedule everything, whatever you will learn. Then finally we will do the Unity catalog, which is another way to access the your mount points, because we discuss all the steps, but there is another point is leaving called the Unity catalog. After that, my database will be finished up. Then we will go to the Synapse. Okay. Okay. That's it. That's it from my end, guys.